Hey guys, welcome back. It is Friday, premiere day. How are my premiere people in the chat? How you doing? Oh, type it out. All right, thank you. I'm reading them right now. Make sure you have a cold little drink in hand. And slap on your favorite Henty sweater. Definitely a must for Fridays. Today, we're going to cover a small variety of topics. We got some very interesting stuff on the case. Not all of it is going to be included. A lot of it needs to wait a little bit. We need to let it marinate just a tad. I got to get it all together. Guys, I told you, it's going to be slow. But don't worry, there's still lots to cover today. We're going to call Jacob, the aka the chess piece of the J-Boy Megazord. Someone sent me a BBCE box wrapping video that we'll take a look at. My apologies, I forget who sent it to me, and my DMs are an absolute mess right now. So if that was you, thank you. Let us know. Let me know. And thank you for that. Then we have Brian, who sent me a video with Erik and Marks. So we'll take a quick peek at that. Very interesting. Michael Marks and Erik Myers, the boys hanging out. And then I think on the tail end here, we'll take a look at the live from Jake, Pokénomics, who has an interview with Erik that has some very interesting information, especially in comparison to the info that we looked at previously. The, I guess, live feed of Erik that we have from previous. So lots to look forward to, guys. Lots to look forward to. All right, new segment for you guys. This is the graded card of the week. This one came from Hunter, the Upside Down Houndoom character rare. Very beautiful. Definitely money that was well spent on grading. You know that care and attention is taken when they don't even notice the card is upside down. You might say, hey, Rattle, aren't they supposed to do like some kind of verification step or like quality control final inspection? Maybe they did. I'm going to say they probably didn't on this one. But it's okay. It's probably the submitter's fault. They probably had it in the card saver upside down, resulting in this. They didn't have time to flip the card around. Or, I don't know. We got to give CGC the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it happened during shipping. It just flipped on itself somehow. So, if you'd like to submit your graded card of the week, feel free to do so on the Discord. Tag me in general. With the image of the oopsie doopsie. One submission per person per week. And we'll be sure to feature some of these beauties. All right, a quick look back on what we covered on the channel this week. We have the Pokemon Company International is purchasing Millennium Print Group. That was pretty interesting. I'll be interested mostly to see if the crime still happens. If there's any more of a punishment there. Quality control, I think, is going to be hit or miss regardless. Hard to say. But watch the video. Feel free to comment. Thanks to everyone that did comment what they thought would happen or any changes that we would see. I think we'll see very few changes on our end. But we're gonna keep an eye on it regardless. Then we have Unpopular Opinions in Pokemon, episode 30. Fan favorite. We have fraudulent Zard listings, so I guess another just quick look into how to spot fake listings. Even if it's a real card, it's a real cert, it's a real case. Good to know what else you should be looking for because it doesn't mean that it's their image. So a little lesson there to be learned. And then the video yesterday, why PSA needs to make their guarantee less of a hassle. There's been a ton of conflict recently. in terms of this is not graded the way it should be, and why did you sell it as such? But then at the same time, both parties are arguing, or I guess the seller is arguing that they should take it up with PSA, but then sometimes you can't take it up with PSA, even though it's very, very misgraded. So good little watch there. A couple very good examples of cards that should definitely be knocked down a couple grades and compensated, but not always how it happens. A lot of headache all around, and I think something that could easily be resolved. But yeah, that's it. That's this week. Other than the video that you guys are watching now, if you watched all 5, congratulations. You're the best. So I've called Jacob a few times. Usually no response, but this time he did pick up. It was very brief, and it seems like he didn't necessarily want to talk to me right now, but that's okay. Jacob, it's all right. If you ever want to talk, I'll be here. I'd love to hear more of your side of the story. I'd love to hear it over the phone if you change your mind.
Hello?
Hello, is this Jacob?
Yeah, who's this?
It's Rattle. How's it going?
Who is it?
Rattle or Mike. All right, let's get into the video featuring BBCE. It's I'll put a link in the description. Triple Double Sports Cards, who had purchased a box here of a 86-87 Fleer basketball and had it wrapped by Steve. Super interesting video about this particular box that was authenticated. BBCE wrapped. You see the baseball players on the basketball box. Not as bad, I guess, as baseball players on a Pokemon case, but it seems Steve always, or at least usually, checks all the packs in the box. So it's kind of weird that the case wasn't opened, but we've discussed that a little bit. Was going to be opened, wasn't going to be opened. People didn't want to open it because they thought the extra value was in the stop tape. Don't ask me. So this video in particular is a little bit sketchy. It's a little bit sketchy with the, I guess, the ethics behind replacing packs from the box with other packs from another box. Is that, I guess maybe that's something that's more acceptable, but then we'll get into like disclosing that. It's just like this really weird scenario where if you're taking stuff out and putting stuff in and you think some of it's bad, how do you know the other stuff isn't bad? And then replacing the packs with packs that were PSA graded, which means they were also graded by Steve. So there's a lot of transactions that are going Steve's way from all of this. And I'll let you guys decide. I think this is ridiculous. But that's up to you guys. So they go on to discuss the reason why these packs needed to be swapped out for other packs.
We had the one pack that had, I'll say, popped open, and the only reason I say it popped open is because if it wasn't something that had, if it was something that had been searched, I don't think they would have left that Jordan sticker.
Nope. Your one pack that had popped open, it was only one side of the flap that had come open.
Oh.
And the inner, I call it the inner guts of the wrapper, were still sealed the way they should be. So the second underneath flap had not come open.
Yeah.
but the original flap had come open enough that I couldn't include that pack in the box. That's why we needed to come up with another pack to put in there.
And it sounds like regardless, when you run into a situation that's,
maybe it's just me, but if something like barely popped or like just came open a little bit, I think I'd still rather have all the packs that were from the box. I get that it's not really something that you can 100% guarantee, but it's still weird that you're purposely altering the contents or the pack contents of the box, like swapping out a pack because something came open a little bit.
something has popped open from its seal, you've got to replace it.
Yes, especially when it had, you know, there's a few certain boxes out there where we'll let a few slide. Now first of all, they can only barely be popped to the point where like they just come unattached.
So apparently there's a certain degree of flappiness that you can make exceptions to the rule. I think if it's just not full flapped open, you probably just leave it be.
That there's always going to be a pack or two where the back has slightly popped, and we'll let a couple of those slide. In your instance, it had popped and kind of been pushed back enough to the point where we just couldn't include it.
So 2 problem packs. First problem pack naturally popping open. Maybe someone did a little peeky weeky. And second one, someone just full on committed resealage. Very weird here at the end of this clip that we're about to watch that Steve doesn't know or can't say exactly how or why it was resealed. Just that it was some sort of reseal. You would think that you would know if they used glue or heat or whatever. Otherwise, how do you even know that it was resealed? Do you just forget?
That one sounded like somebody actually broken the seal and maybe gone into it, or what did you?
I don't think they did. I think maybe they peeled it back enough to see it was Michael Jordan's sticker, and then put it back into the box, but didn't compromise it or take the card out.
So what about the other pack that was?
There was one pack in there that had been tampered with and reheated and reglued in some way.
Maybe some of you sports guys can verify this. Was resealing a big issue in the 70s and 80s? I'm going to say it probably wasn't in the 70s for this particular box, but maybe that was a thing throughout the 80s. I'm not really sure. I can't imagine it was more of an issue than what it would be right now, but
you know, a lot of times back in the 70s and 80s, you know, obviously resealing is a big issue. People do it because they're just, I don't know, criminal element or what, they want to steal some from somebody.
All right, it is Steve Hart story time. We're going to hear all about how somebody tried to keep their packs from opening up.
I've noticed a lot of times when people have resealed packs because they thought it would keep it from popping open on its own in the future. I had an 86 Fleer box come in once like yours, and every pack had Scotch tape on the back holding the pack together. Now I told him, he's like, I did that back in 1986 because, you know, I worried that maybe in 30 years they would pop open. And I said, well, that's great. You know, I can't authenticate it because in this case, the appearance is even worse than the actuality. Somebody's going to open that box and say, what the hell is Steve doing? He has no idea what he's doing anymore.
I feel like I'd be doing everyone a disservice if I didn't make a little joke here about how he should have just verified the tape. Kind of like the stop tape from the first edition base case. All right, so Triple Double asks Steve what he has to disclose or what he should disclose, what's ethical. Let's take a listen to his question.
Given that I have a box that has been built, but obviously authenticated, which is great, and I'm super excited, given all the things that probably happen with these boxes. But I have those 2 packs, and we know that one has a Jordan sticker on the back, and the other one has the Kareem sticker on the back.
Right.
is there any reason that I wouldn't tie that back into this box? Because it sounds like from a disclosure standpoint, I'm going to need to tell everybody everything you know already. So maybe that's my first question. From a disclosure standpoint, what is the right thing to do when I go to sell this?
All right, Steve, this is it. He's putting the ball on the tee for you. All you have to do is swing. Just give us a nice, ethical, 100% honest, disclose everything about it.
Like the letter that I wrote for that box. Yeah.
Man, I thought the sticker was bad and the wrap was bad, but this takes the cake. This looks like something that I would have pieced together when I was in grade 3. We have an 8x10 piece of paper. It looks like he's shorted the logo using like notepad, and he just laminated. Like, what are your customers doing with these certificates that you need to laminate them? Are they beating off all over them? Like, do they need to be able to wash them down or hose them down afterwards? Like, how in the world can you think this looks even remotely professional?
I call it a 36-pack box, which among the industry means that it's a partially built box. Like I said, those aren't the original 36 packs in that box that Fleer put in that box. Most of them probably are, but a few of them came from different locations to make it full.
So I don't know if it's Steve calls it or the industry calls it. He kind of like flips back and forth here. I would think that you would call it a built box instead of just hoping someone assumes that your 36-pack box means that some of them were swappy-doppy, maybe a little bit dishonest to newbies, and or if that maybe that's not even a real thing. You call it a 36-pack box, but you kind of leave out the most important part, that it's not the original 36 packs. Like, that would never fly in Pokemon. But yeah.
That's all you need to disclose, because that's what it is. It is 36 packs that are untampered with. I've already mentioned it's not the original 36 packs, so we've already given about the details. The fact that there was a pack in there I didn't like and a pack in there that was open has been rectified.
Mm-hmm.
So this was put here by Triple Double on the screen, which says, I ended up having to buy 2 PSA graded 8 packs from BBCE. They then cracked a case of each and put them in the box. So how did BBCE grade those themselves and have them sent back to themselves to grade? Or did they buy them from someone? In which case, they still made money for authenticating the packs, and now we're making money selling the authenticated packs that they're cracking out of the slab to put in your box to replace the packs that probably should have just stayed in there. I mean, there's the second pack. It sounds like the second pack was tampered with, but he can't even tell you how it was tampered with, how it was resealed. He mentions glue. He mentions reheat. Did either of those actually happen? I'm hoping that he at least showed you. It looks like Triple Double still has the packs themselves, so it'd be interesting to know if there was actually any sign of tampering or if it was just open a little bit. We've seen already with Rusty TCA, he had a bunch of packs that he sent for grading with PSA. They went to Steve, they got opened, and they got returned to Rusty. And only after he contacted them multiple times, and I gave them shit about it as well, that he got it resolved. But like, what is he doing with the packs? Is it just like, maybe it's him opening them, maybe he's diddling them enough that they come open, and then he gets to sell 2 PSA graded 8 packs that he cracks out, and man, too many fingers in one butthole.
And people will say, well, if there's 34 good packs in there and 2 resealed ones, and we take the 2 resealed ones out and replace it with 2 good ones, is that right? Is that morally ethical to do that? Well, the reason we finally decided it is because people do that and ship it to me, and I have no way of telling.
Now, I don't know if that's something that you should necessarily be excited or proud about. It seems like you find that pretty enjoyable. But I don't. Is that like a free pass to you can modify anything you want? Because if you can't tell or people can't tell, then what difference does it make? It's terrible, terrible logic. I don't know. I don't like any of it. I think maybe just have the packs as packs if they're not a complete box of packs, and call it a day.
And are there some good auction houses that you think are especially reputable that you would recommend?
Oh yeah, there's a handful of them. Golden Auctions, REA Auctions, Heritage,
Okay.
Mile High, Memory Lane. Those are top 5 I can think of off the top of my head.
I was going to say this was a great segue into our next section of the video here, but he forgot to mention PWCC. I guess they didn't make the top 5. Weird. All right, let's get back into Erik Myers. So if you guys missed last week, or you need a little refresher, here's some clips of some very awkward conversation on a live stream where Erik kind of dances around the topic of bidding on PWCC items, which he is definitely not allowed to do. It says so right in the PWCC FAQ. They know this, but here it is. Here is basically him skirting around the fact that he ended up with a Michael Jordan card that people called him on. I'm sure there were others. This was just one example that got brought publicly, and this is what those accusations are based on. Basically, he ended up with a PWCC card almost immediately after an auction. So people assumed that he purchased it. He's claiming that he bought it through a friend. He's also saying that he can't buy directly. So implying, I guess, that he's having people purchase for him, which is also just as bad. You're just kind of circumnavigating the rules. And I'm sure that the intended reasons for those rules being in place are very clear. You have access to a lot of information that makes it very unfair for you to be able to bid on this stuff. He knows that. He's very aware of that. And we're going to see it come up from time to time that he knows he's in the wrong here. And that's about it. All right. So the clips last week. Quick recap. Go.
Jordan Riker says, Erik, as an employee of PWCC, I'll just put that out there for you, Jordan. Are you allowed to bid on cards on PWCC's auctions?
No, no, I can't. I don't even know if I'm not even approved to be a bidder on the Premier. Like, I don't even think that they approve employees to bid. So you have to be approved to bid. So I don't even think that I'm even approved to even place a bid.
So let's say you were approved. I mean, the question is, are you allowed to? It's not, are you approved? Are you allowed to bid on cards?
No, I can't directly. I cannot bid on monthly or Premier. I don't even think I can hit buy it now or best offer. I'm pretty sure that I can't do that either.
In the fixed price listing.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I believe you cannot. I believe you are not allowed to bid on any auctions on the PWCC platform. That's my understanding just from other discussions I've had. So okay, good stuff.
For $7,000. If I was bidding outside, not a PWCC employee.
Erik, I don't know. Can you address this this comment here from Drew Tang NYC? He's accusing you of winning a PWCC item and then goes on to say basically the employee policy is just fluff. Is this something that you can address?
No, I don't know. Like, I haven't bid or won anything at all.
Okay. Well, thank you for putting that to bed. Drew Tang, we're going to just block you because I don't take kindly to false accusations. Okay, let's keep on going then.
What do you do when there's a card you really want, but you don't have the best cash situation? Do you start thinking about the stuff you have to move to get it? Like, how do you think about that?
My advice is you call one of your fellow Kobe collector buddies who might have some good liquidity and be looking to purchase some of your cards, and you ask him to kind of cash you out. That's just my advice. I mean, that's if you're asking my personal opinion. I would probably, and I might know somebody could take some of those off your hands.
That's weird. I wonder who you could be talking about.
I was going to say, I mean, some of these cards, like I would buy, like, you know, if you won something, and I have customers do this, or friends of mine do this to me all the time. They'll win something on PWCC and reach out to me, Erik, would you buy, you know, knowing they know my taste, and sell it to me after I'm watching them win it, right? And they'll sell it to me for, you know, 5% markup, you know, because there's a lot of stuff on here that I see that I love, and I'm like, dude, this stuff is just.
Jason Kinder, you know, I'm honestly disappointed that you didn't let that guy ask his fault. Okay, Jason, listen, this is a show covering the auction. Any question that anyone has can be asked outside of my show. This is my show, and I'm going to run it the way I want. Thank you. Anyway.
So in those clips, Erik plays dumb. He's pretends that he doesn't really know the rules. He's not sure what he can and can't bid on. He would never do that. But also at the same time kind of lets it out of the bag that people are buying items for him that he can't directly buy. It's weird that he's so confused about the rules. But the clip that we're about to watch is from 3 months prior to the clips that we just watched, where it's crystal clear. He knows, he remembers signing something from PWCC, a contract saying that he wasn't allowed to bid on items. And I'd like to thank Jake from Pokénomics for doing the interview with him. Whether or not that, I don't think that was ever the intention. It wasn't to like catch him on this stuff. But when you combine different live appearances with our boy Erik here, it seems like he's full of shit. He's definitely full of shit. So he puts on this act where he's like, oh, he's like this holy monk where he's doing everything for the community. He's like so great for everyone. He wants to help everybody out. And he's not. He's full of shit. He's in it for himself. And it's all fluff, to put it as a certain comment on the YouTube video that got banned or dismissed. But he's full of crap. He's a con artist, and it comes through pretty clear when you see enough of his content.
Share with us about the PWCC eBay situation. You know, whether it's kind of sharing your opinions, what do you feel comfortable sharing?
Well, I know for my opinions, and I mentioned this before the broadcast, working there, we signed. Like, here's the thing. So the eBay email said that there was associates PWCC that were still bidding. To the best of my knowledge, there hasn't been any evidence provided who these associates were, right? So there was no direct allegations to employees, past or present. You know, there was very vague, very, very vague. That being said, I know for a fact, as an employee, we have to sign a contract saying that as employees, we will not bid on items. Not only we're not allowed to bid, even if we want them. Like, I'm a collector. Like, I collect vintage baseball and basketball, some football. That's it, right? Even if there's a card that I want, I'm not allowed to bid on it. Even if it's a true purchase intent, one that I want to either buy for short term or long term hold. I can't bid on an item. Not just me, PWCC employees can't bid on an item. We can't submit a best offer on something listed on the marketplace or hit buy it now. We are not allowed to purchase from the PWCC platform. And that was a practice that was standing before that email came out, right? So that's been a how can you say, the perception of how we look as a company has been something that's been going on the entirety of my employment there. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I can say that for sure. I didn't, and as a collector, trust me, I didn't want to sign that document saying, because I bought from PWCC. I buy a lot from them. You know, I had to pick going to work there versus, hey, I spent a lot, hundreds of thousands of dollars from them, right? Like, why do I want to do this? But I understood their goal and perception of why they had that document that people had signed, because it makes sense. They chose to pursue the perception of what's best for the industry and hobby and the company versus wanting my money as an individual, which I think is huge. That says a lot. So it really struck hard. It hurt when I read that email from eBay, because I know as a fact for me that we don't bid on items, so, and if it's associates that we don't know, or people that can sign with us or buy from us, or one of the 100, 200, 300,000 people that use eBay for cards, or 500,000, however many it is, we can block as many people as we can, but we can't make it a perfect industry. We can do it. It's not like we don't block people. We've been maxed out, because you max up to 5,000 people on eBay. If you're an account, if you have a marketplace account there, right, you can block up to 5,000 people. We've been maxed out, right? We block a ton of people. So I know that.
I'll put a link to the Pokénomics live in the description as well. Go check that out if you want to watch the whole thing. I think it was like 2 hours. There was a good chunk of it that was not concerning PWCC, but I think the second half is mostly that. Here's a little tidbit where he's always letting on that, like, it's not about the money, but at the same time, he's Flex Bali 69 and himself and every other hype dog in existence. It's ridiculous. He gets super amped up. He loves talking about all the dollar values, but at the same time, he likes to claim, "Oh, I don't do it for the money though. It's never about the money. But check out my car. Check out how much this card is worth. Check out this thing that I sold. Check out how much I was spending on stuff. Check out how much I made over the last couple of years in the Sports Dog 69 Uptick Ultimate."
Do it because you love it. Let the money be the secondary focus at all times. All times, then the primary focus. Because what happens is, if it's not, it's going to get volatile. It could get somewhat corrupt. Hopefully it doesn't.
Here he's going to tell us about how we should treat people fair, which is kind of funny, since was it really fair to let somebody buy a card for $120,000 when they're going to try to cross it to PSA and it's going to get rejected? They're going to waste $5,000. They spent $120,000 on a defective, basically useless card, unsellable card, or at least a much less valuable card. And is that treating them fair?
And let's meet in the middle somewhere, and we walk in faith, and we're both getting a good deal. So then that in of itself is its own thing. Make sure you're treating somebody fair, right?
Don't worry, guys. Erik has your best interest in mind, always, especially when you're purchasing trimmed cards. When he's alerted to that, he's going to make sure that the honest thing is done. He would never let anything bad happen to you or anyone else. He protects everyone. He's just such a saint.
So let's say I sold 10 cards, and I sold them at their peak every time. That means 10 people just got hosed. That means 10 people just lost money. Because if I sold it at the peak, well, that means it went down after I sold it. And that means literally every person I transacted with lost money. And I'm always dissecting my behavior patterns to the best of my ability. That's not what I want, because I'm dealing with somebody's husband, somebody's wife, somebody's father, somebody's mother. That's real to me, man.
Some of you guys might remember that I asked our boy Erik if he had, do you and or any PWCC employees have criminal records? And asked if there was a criminal background check done. He avoided that question. He said, call PWCC and ask them that. I made it clear, until you start treating me with mutual respect, I'm not answering you, bro. You don't respect me, and you called me scum. He told me a whole bunch of other stuff. He told me about how he was living under a bridge or whatever the hell, homeless. But it's okay. We'll find that ourselves. You don't have to answer me. We'll just watch this clip.
On my personal level, so I don't know how much you know about my past. So there was a time in my life that earlier on in my life, in my late teens, early 20s, I'm 43 now. I spent some time behind bars. I was didn't grow up in the best environment. I grew up in somewhat of an inner city, and I got into things I probably shouldn't have. And I spent some time behind bars. Next thing you know, in my mid-20s, ended up homeless, living under a bridge for about 18 months, like literally eating off the streets and begging for money. That taught me a lot about myself and humanity. And I realized, thankfully, I got my stuff together, and I had an addiction problem to narcotics when I was younger. Got sober. I've been sober about 14 and a half years since I got into this. So those coincide together. So my behavior patterns are pretty hand in hand on that aspect.
I should note here that it's not my opinion that people can never change. Just because he was a criminal at one point and a drug addict does not mean that he still is. I just think maybe it's an important piece to add where kind of getting caught up in some shady stuff. Certainly, I think an important little tidbit to include. So Erik blocked me, and I also reached out to Jason Mills. He was the other PWCC employee that was notified that there were issues with the Kobe. And so I said, hey, Jason, were you notified that there was an issue with the Kobe card Jacob Gabe recently sold through PWCC? And he just instantly blocked me. I don't blame him. I mean, if I was going to get in trouble by talking to myself, it'd probably block me too. Probably wise if you have something to hide that you do just that. Certainly interesting. I mean, the question was a little bit loaded because I already knew the answer to it. He was notified. Jason Mills and Erik Myers were both notified that there was an issue with the card. They both did not care. They both did not do anything about it. Or at least PWCC in general did not do anything about it. Whether or not they brought that to anyone's attention, it doesn't seem like it. I would say that they just turned a blind eye. If anyone can explain this next part on how Erik thinks that he was doing PWCC a huge solid, it just sounds like he was consigning items to me. I mean, he was leaving money for them, but if they're selling the item for him, that kind of makes sense. Maybe more importantly, that he was bringing so much stuff to them to flip. That's my guess, but it's weird to say that like he was doing PWCC this huge solid by not needing full market value for his items. And then like the end customer was lucky enough to pay market value, which should be the case regardless. I don't get it. If anyone wants to translate, please feel free to do so.
Yes, you started talking about PWCC and how you got your job there through.
Yeah, so I was selling them cards so we'd agree like there's 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 cards.
Yeah.
Agree market value is 500,000. Then I would just say, all right, here's we agree this is market. I would bring my price down so that way they could get their margin on it. I need full market. You need to figure out the rest. No. All right. Full market's 500. All right, let's do 450. You make 10% or whatever they needed to make. And the buyer got market price. In essence, I would eat, or we would split the fees, because I felt like that was fair, and I did that repeatedly. And one thing that always came up is like, Erik, we love doing business with you. You're easy to deal with. You're fair in your prices. You're just moving stuff, and that is important. But that behavior pattern led to me now being an employee there. Like that behavior pattern over time has worked out.
You guys ready for the ultimate Erik bullshit? Here it is.
I do not base my behavior and my morality and my decision-making on any other human at all. If you scam me, if you ostracize me, if you treat me unfairly, if you, whatever, however you treat me, and this is important about me being a man, should not, and I work to grow on this every day, should not affect how I treat you or others. Because my morals are not malleable. They're not based on your behavior to me. My morals are based on my core system of values and my beliefs. And once I found that out, I realized what it meant to be a man.
So, you might remember me saying that he was scum for covering for Jacob. And he decided at that point that he was going to be childish and he was going to not answer questions. Kind of goes exactly against what he's saying here. If a man doesn't react to how somebody treats him, I did treat him poorly, and he responded poorly. So, sorry, Erik, you're a real boy. Here we have Erik letting on that he wants more transparency. He wishes he knew the reasons why eBay was upset and kicked PWCC, why the allegations were there. I think he has a pretty good reason or a pretty good idea why.
So what do you think? What do you think happened here? You know, why do you think eBay did this?
I wish we knew. I wish there was more to it. I wish there was more information given.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I wish that there was more of an explanation. I do. I really do. I wish there was more of a given to us and the marketplace. Because let's be honest, we're just one entity. It affected a whole market, right? So I feel like to a certain degree, the market kind of deserves more info as well.
Well, you're in luck. That's what we're doing here. We're giving the market more information. I mean, you can't play dumb while you're breaking PWCC's own rules and bidding on items or getting people to bid on items for you and then say like, oh, I wish we just knew. If only we knew what was going on. Could it maybe be that eBay had a good reason? They probably had a good reason. They're not just going to get rid of giant sellers on their platform. They were making a ton of money. They're not just going to get rid of you for no reason. And you can't be like, oh, they just wanted our vault. No, they didn't want your vault. They don't give a shit about your vault. As you've seen, they can make their own vault if they want to. They could have made that with you on the platform as well. And they could have made even more money. Something bad was going down. You can probably be assured. All right, so we have an awesome clip coming up. Jake asked some awesome questions in this interview / live. It seems like Erik used to like transparency, but now that he's an employee of PWCC, he likes the lack of transparency. Coincidence? I don't know. I don't know what he's trying. He's got like one spiel confused with another. He's gone into like monk super religion mode where he's talking about opening his heart to hiding information, and then goes on. I'd like you guys to pay extra attention to the last part where he says that it would give him an unfair advantage. It's a key component.
That data is paramount for the health and growth of our hobby / industry. I firmly believe that regardless of their perspective on us, they shouldn't be hindering the users and the consumers.
Yeah. One thing that I found frustrating that PWCC did, and this might be something that you just don't like have insight into exactly why they did it, but I'll ask you anyway, Erik, because I'd be interested, and it's on this topic of show bidding, is they made bids private. And I didn't like that because I am someone who I like to track who's buying things. And I like to track the way people bid to see if I feel like this item that I'm bidding on has been show bid, or someone who is constantly bidding on many items and then retracts them later, I even track like, does this person actually pay for the items? Because you can see the items then come back on. And now I can't do any of that. So it makes me have that suspicious thought of like, well, that makes it a lot easier for like friends or employees at PWCC to manipulate their own market if they were to do something like that. So if you look at the timing of that with this eBay thing, and then I heard that they did that for anonymity, to try for privacy for people, and I understand that, but do you have any insight into what those discussions, why they did that? Yeah, please. Love to hear it.
So you remember when that happened, I wasn't an employee, right? So I looked at it from your perspective, right? My perspective was not from an employee. My perspective was from a consumer.
You understand how I feel.
Oh yeah. So I didn't like it either. I absolutely didn't like it either. And I'm not sure to this day I still like it, because had we not done that, that wouldn't be a discussion topic, right? We wouldn't be discussing it now, right? So I can't even say in hindsight that I totally agree with it as a consumer and a collector. However, I do also understand. So I allow myself to digest and accept how I feel about it personally, but I also try to look at things from like the devil's advocate, if you will, or the other person's perspective wholly. And it took about a half year for me to open up my heart to be willing to listen to the other end, because I was like, nope, don't want to hear it. Nope, don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your side. But once I started working there, I understood the perspective as a collector and consumer, plus as an employee. I'm not gonna lie, because I kept spreadsheets, I kept data, I kept a lot of stuff and tracked bids and bid histories and behavior patterns of buyers, right? To help me better my craft of knowing when and what to bid on and what items were heading in what direction, and truly how many different people were bidding on an item. And in all honesty, if I'm completely honest with you and myself, I was using that information to give me an unfair advantage above other people who might not have done that.
So you guys heard that, right? He's saying that gives him an unfair advantage when the playing field was equal and everyone had the ability to do that. I don't know if you realize this, but you're kind of exposing yourself for having access to all the internal workings of PWCC, all the bidder information, all the records, even live information. If he's saying that he was watching his friends bid on items that he wanted, which he did say, he has access to live information. So you want to talk unfair advantage. How about bidding on PWCC items? Whether it's you yourself on a different account, or whether it's you sitting with your friend or talking to your friend who's bidding on items that you're going to end up with. It's unfair. It's extremely unfair. It's extremely unethical. And it's just a taste, I'm sure, of what's going on. Because with the curtains as closed as they are, the only reason we know this stuff is because you were dumb and posted the Jordan. You posted the Jordan on Instagram because you're a dumb flex baller. You flexed it. People realized, they traced it back that it came from the PWCC auction. Then you got accusations. Then you stumbled on your words and you said that you don't bid directly. You knew what the rules were. You know what the rules are there for. You clearly know all of that. And you still broke them. And then you're like, oh, I don't understand why eBay. Why eBay? Why do you just hate PWCC? We're all so honest. No, you're not. Jesus Christ. On these lives, he goes on to tell us about how he has access to information multiple times. Some of the lives, he's like checking information while he's on the lives. I mean, surely that should be against company policy as well. I guess as long as he's checking the website and not anything internal. But I guess that's for them to determine, because they make the rules and they have the curtains and they can do whatever they want.
To all that information, and were you
a lot of it?
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of it. I can't go into detail. Like, I can't give specifics, but yeah, it was a multitude of people. But the truth is, and here's the one thing, right? And I know this for a fact. And you can see if you followed card porn.
Do you mean this card porn? The one that's dragging you for the same thing? About how you have full control, about how you bought the Jordan. Very, very interesting. It's weird that you would reference somebody that is going to call you on your shit. I'm expecting my shout out anytime now. Please and thanks, Erik.
If you followed card porn, so card porn, every couple times a week, they show all the, like, an excuse page, people backing out of buy, not wanting to buy things or
Sure.
whatever.
Erik has this great take on how it's odd for buyers to want to know information about the items they're bidding on and have transparency. I would.
So it's odd to say, hey, I want to know who's bidding on these items. Because if you say that out loud, that's kind of like, hey, it's kind of private stuff. Like, I think I should have the right to know who's bidding on items. I mean, I want that as a buyer, but do I really need that?
What else do you have for us, Erik? What else do you have?
That time on its inception, PWCC took the stance and said, hey, we tell you what was paid for and what wasn't.
They'll tell you what sells, what doesn't sell, and sometimes the stuff that doesn't sell or isn't paid for, they'll just post it as a record-breaking sale, because why not, right? I don't know what's going on here, but Erik loves to bring up the fact that he likes transparency but doesn't like it anymore now that he's an employee. Can you guys guess why? Is it because you get full transparency when you're an employee? And if you're still bidding on stuff through other people, then what does it matter? There's no downfall. You just get more, and it's just free information for you to swindle your windows.
From my perspective as an employee, I absolutely agree with what you're saying about, hey, we want more transparent, this and that, whatever. But from an employee now that I work at PWCC, people only want that from us. Why don't people demand that from other auction houses?
Well,
here's the thing.
I want it from everyone.
Yeah, but the discussion only comes up with us, right? And the only reason it comes up is, well, you used to do it. Sure. Yeah, but we were doing it when nobody else, when basically outside of eBay, nobody does it.
Well,
Erik also loves to deflect, if you haven't noticed. It's always, oh, why do we have to do it? The other auction houses don't do it. Why do we have to be ethical? They're not very ethical. They do bad things. Why can't we do it? Why is it only our fault? Well, it's not only your fault. It's everyone's fault. The auction houses in general, pretty shady. There's a lot of shady stuff that goes on. Real auction houses, online auction houses in your dreams, auction houses that sell ice creams. They're all shady to some extent. That doesn't give you a free pass to be a shady motherfucker or a shady company. There's no excuse. You can't just pass that like, oh yeah, but Billy's throwing rocks too. Look at Billy over there. I'm not getting in trouble. Jesus Christ, man. Just we're talking about PWCC right now. We're not talking about the other auction companies. That's why you might have the impression that it's only PWCC that's getting flack for it. The other auction companies didn't get kicked off eBay. Would they have? Maybe. Probably. If they were doing the same shady stuff that PWCC was probably doing. I can't see why not. So here's going to make an excuse for a lack of transparency or the reason for it.
Hey, it doesn't take long because you post one card that you bought on Instagram. You post one card and they can then go, oh, well, this guy who owns this must be this person's bidder ID. So he must also own all this, And then you get flooded with all these questions. I mean, trust me.
I get it.
I'm open about it.
Weird. It's kind of like the same scenario where you got caught with the Jordan that came from PWCC. One post on Instagram. Sort of the same scenario. I'm sure you got lots of questions about it. I know I ask questions. I know Card Porn asks questions. But yeah, I don't know. I think that was an oopsie doopsie on your part. And that wasn't you just being transparent about it like you claim. Oh, this next clip. This is gold. This is absolute gold. So he goes on again about how it's hard not to bid. He brags about money. Remember, this is the guy that's always saying it's not about the money. It's not about the money. But I got a number drop. How big of a collector I am. Then he goes on sob story about how, I can't believe they would accuse PWCC of shilling. And I guess at that point, I might as well break the rules. You've already been breaking the rules, though. The Jordan, you broke the rules. You can't say like, oopsie doopsie, now I guess I can break all the rules. You were already breaking the rules.
It's hard because as an employee, me personally.
You have your own.
Well, yeah, because I know for a fact that, dude, I'm a multi-million-dollar collector. It's hard for me not to bid on things that I want to own, right? So when somebody comes and accuses the company I work for of potential shill bidding, like that, or associates of that are currently shill bidding and stuff, or however they're trying to imply it, man, because part of me is like, well, if we're going to get accused of doing this stuff anyway, can I just go ahead and start buying the stuff I want, right? I mean, here I am having to to buy from competitors to do the right thing, and then we get cut off from eBay when I know that that's not the case. But
Yeah.
All right, another doozy here. He's going to tell us again it isn't about the money, about how him and PWCC are just so honest. Again, monk mode. We're going into full monk mode here. Erik Myers brand. Apparently that's a thing. I don't know who's buying that, but okay. He really tries to sell us hard on how honest he is, and then even in the same breath, he's going to tell us about how he took a pay cut and do like a money brag or like excitement about the money. It's not about the money, but it's about the money again. He's going to do I made so much money before going to PWCC. Everyone made money that had cards, whether they're sports cards, trading cards of any kind, essentially, especially if it's Pokemon, if it's sports. If you had cards beforehand, they went up in value a lot, and you probably made a lot of money. We get it. That wasn't anything. You did not know that was going to happen. You're full of shit if you're claiming that. You notice they don't talk about the retrace of any kind. Why is that?
Because here's my thing. I'm going to be completely honest about this. I wouldn't work for a company like that. Like, I've got my own brand. People like you brought me because you've been following me. I've got my own brand, and it's based largely on integrity and equal treatment of others, industry first. Well, sorry, hobby first before industry, transaction-based, humanitarian perspectives, truly be passionate and loving what it is you do more than you love the money. That's the brand that Erik Myers has built for him. If I thought for a second that the latter was true, that it was an industry, that the company was corrupt, I'd have told him to kick rocks when they offered me a job. I wouldn't even have contemplated. I'd still do business. Like, I'd sell them stuff, buy from the platform because it's stuff I want, right? Like, I mean, that's different. But as far as me going to represent them as a company, hell no, I wouldn't do it in a heartbeat if I thought that they were corrupt. Not in the slightest. But I mean, I've got my own brand. You know, that a lot of people come to me because of integrity, because they know that I honor my word and I'm going to treat them fair. Like, I wouldn't want to remotely taint who I am as a person, much less as somebody who's passionate collector and enthusiast in the hobby. I would not risk who I am for some company I've worked for like 8-9 months. I mean, that's crazy. Here's the truth. I took a huge pay cut to come work for them from what I made last year in the card industry and the year before. I mean, it was insane. Like, it was well over, 70 or 80% pay cut. And I get paid decent there, but I made a good living the past couple of years on cards. Sure. I took a big pay cut to come there because I believe in what they offer the hobby.
Here's another little spiel by Erik about how they're in control now. Rest assured, the company that got kicked from eBay is now in full control. They can do whatever they want, so you're in safe hands. Don't worry, no shilling here. The employees all follow the rules. They definitely wouldn't buy the items on PWCC. They wouldn't shill the items. Nothing bad is going on here, guys. They're in control now, so they can control the fact that there's nothing going on, even harder than they did on eBay before they got kicked off of eBay.
Our stuff, whatever. So now we can, from moving forward, we can bet people, right? Because you're on our platform now. Now we control it. We can see who's bidding on what. We have better reins. If we don't feel you're honest, or we noticing you're bidding on your own items, or if you have maybe 3 accounts with us from whatever, if you're looking like you're bidding without the intent of purchasing or whatever it may be, we can then monitor stuff better, so we have better reins on that moving forward,
If you want to watch the full context of this next clip, then by all means, tune into that Pokénomics live. Again, link in the description. But at one point here, he decides he's going to tell us that essentially the auction company does not benefit from shill bidding in any way. They don't benefit from the market being up or down. If you can decipher what the hell he's trying to say or make sense of it, please let me know. To me, it's bullshit, but maybe I just don't understand the extreme math that's going on.
if auction houses were truly transparent, as long as Adam gets paid for it, they make their money on the top. That's how they function. Whether it's higher bull or bear markets, it really doesn't matter.
Man, for somebody that values data so much, they sure are taking advantage of it.
Because without accurate research data, we're all standing on a house of cards.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, beautiful, beautiful Friday with all the peeps in the chat. Everybody watching later on, thank you very much. If you made it this far, you are a warrior of sorts. Get this nice little clip to end it off here from Mark's Cards. If you don't remember, they pulled the old bankrupt-a-roni. Well, they had a bunch of customer cards at PSA. Huge mess. These are the same people, the people that talk about the community. They're doing it for the hobby. They're full of shit. They say this stupid line. It's like the let's eat, let's all eat. Like everybody's cards are always gonna go up and everyone can make money. Don't worry, guys. Let's all eat. And then they say fuck you and close the doors. Bankruptcy. LOL. Or in Erik's case, Shilly-roni. LOL. So yeah, let's give this a little listen here. We got the dramatic music because they're such passionate motherfuckers. Have a good night, guys.
People come and go so fast. Life is so short. Don't be greedy, dude. You're gonna make a ton of money. Just enjoy the ride and make some friends in the process. If really I had one thing to say to anybody, just enjoy the friendships and leave some money on there for them too. So that way we can all eat.
Look what my shirt says. That's our motto.
Let's everybody eat, brother. I mean, there ain't no. I hear some people like, well, I can get a little bit more here or there, or maybe here, somewhere else. If I find this person, they might pay that.
Mm-hmm.
But don't look at life like that, man. Because then you'll look at people like that, and you'll look at your wife like that. You know, well, maybe that other chick's a little hotter.